Thank you for joining us. We will now begin with questions for Enrique Bradfield Jr. Please use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. When you're called on for your question, please state your name and affiliation first. Our first question is from Robbie Weinstein. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Robbie, go ahead.
Hey, Enrique. I think you were on second base at the end there. Could you tell right out of when the ball was right out of his hands that something had gone wrong? I mean, what's just the feeling of, the wild excitement like in a situation like that where you guys were down to your last strike?
Once the game was tied, it's basically a reset. And when I was on second base, I was just waiting for Carter to get a pitch he could do something with and work with. And I saw the curveball break out of his hand. And I know curveballs like that for a catcher, any catcher, doesn't matter, elite, whatever level, are hard to catch. So when I saw it, I knew it was going to give us a chance and just hit his glove and went to backstop and got caught in the net, and we scored the run.
Our next question is from Kayla Anderson. Kayla, go ahead. Our next question is from Chris Lee. Chris, go ahead.
Chris Lee, VandySports.com. Enrique, what were you looking for in the bat? Walk me through that. And just what was it like in the dugout as you guys are going through the ninth inning and trying to digest what, the gravity of what's ahead for you there?
Going to the ninth, we all knew we could do it. We've done some crazy things this year, down in the last inning, 2 outs. A lot of the runs we score are 2-out runs. Nobody's on to start the inning. We get to 2 outs. We get a base runner. Then another base hit follows. So we knew it was always possible. Going through my at-bat, it all went back to, I think, my at-bat in the 7th inning where I faced Beck the first time. I chased a curveball in the dirt. And I was, of course, frustrated because nobody wants to do that. But I just knew I had to see it pop out of his hand. I was looking for a fastball, and I just saw it and reacted to it.
Our next question is from Adam Sparks. Adam, go ahead.
Adam Sparks of Tennessee. And Enrique, Javier and Spencer both had to get on base for you to even have a chance to do what you did. What can you say about those two guys? And I mean, those are role players that came up big in the ninth. Yeah,
Javi, he's somebody who hasn't played. He hadn't played a whole lot to start the year and through a large amount of the season, and he's always stayed focused. He's always stayed ready. He works just as hard as anybody else, and he's got inserted. His at-bats are great. He's a great fire spark for the order, so I'm happy that he's in there, and he had a great AB to get on base to start us off. And Spence coming off the bench, just wanting to pass it over. He told me, he's like, I'm just going to try and do my job and get it to you, and he did great. He hit a ball that basically he ran it out, and just great job by those two.
Thanks.
Our next question is from Arya Gerson. Arya, go ahead.
Enrique, after especially, getting picked off first base in the first inning, mentally, how did you kind of, recover from that in order to, have that clutch hit at the end?
That doesn't change anything for me mentally.
Our next question is from Joe Rexroad. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, Enrique, how would you characterize the entire night? It was just brought up, of course, getting picked off, some errors early in the game. You guys made some mistakes in this game, ups and downs, coming back. How would you characterize this? How would you classify this compared with some of the wildest games you've been a part of in your young college career?
It's definitely up there just because of the spot. Elimination game in the CWS. We know we played pretty much the worst baseball we could play in 4 innings, both sides of the ball, defense and offensively. It was just about regrouping, getting back to what we know how to do, and it's put together good ABs, start putting the ball in play and getting runs.
Our next question is from Chris Harris. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Enrique, kind of off of that, just can you speak to the range of emotions that went through the dugout, especially after you guys fell behind? And it looks like Corbs was saying some interesting things in the dugout to trying to get you guys fired up, and what all transpired there.
Well, he was just trying to get us back in our right mindset. We had some key mistakes early in the game, and Corbs talked after that. We got back to what we know how to do.
Our next question is from Chad Bishop. Chad, go ahead.
Yeah, Chad Bishop with Vanderbilt. Enrique, what happened to Spencer Jones's shirt there at the end?
Somebody got a hold of it, took it off him. Spence a big figure, so maybe not the worst thing.
Our final question will be from Chris Lee. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Enrique, what was said, at least that you can repeat, in that pep talk you got after the third inning from your coach? And just what was the issue early? Because that wasn't the baseball we've seen you guys play.
I'm not sure what the issue was. It was just a couple mistakes here and there. It happens to everybody. And Corbs just wanted to rally us, get us together, get us going.
Thank you for your time today, Enrique. We will be joined momentarily by Luke Murphy. Please use this time to raise or lower your hand as necessary.
Thank you.
We are now joined by Luke Murphy. Our first question is from Chris Lee. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Chris, go ahead.
Luke, you came in a big spot there in the eighth, bases loaded to a kid that had hit a couple grand slams. What's going through your mind with the pitch sequence with him? I think you started with maybe 5 or 6 fastballs and ended that with a slider, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah, there's not too much thought behind that. I just kind of went in and just knew how to fill up the zone, bases loaded. So I was just trying to attack and hopefully hope for some success.
Our next question is from Elizabeth Merrill. Elizabeth, go ahead.
Luke, what did Coach Corbin, oh, you were probably in the bullpen, forget that. I was going to ask you, do you have any idea what Coach Corbin said to the guys in the dugout in the 4th inning?
Yeah, I was in the bullpen.
Our next question is from Kayla Anderson. Kayla, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess just talk about the work from the pen tonight. Really important. Yeah. Clearly, if you guys are going to continue this, but the work you got out of you guys tonight, I mean, just explain your effort tonight.
I mean, starting with Maldo, I mean, he filled up the zone, did what he needed to do, get us deep in the ball game. McIlvain did the same thing, attacked the zone, produced weak contact, and I think that put us in a great spot to kind of stay in the game. Fish came in, tough AB right there, close calls, and I just had to come in, bases loaded, and just kind of do what everyone else is doing, just kind of following after one another and hoping going from there.
Our next question is from Aria Gerson. Aria, go ahead.
Luke, what did you see out of Christian Little tonight, starting a College World Series game at the age of 17, especially since he hadn't pitched in a month?
I mean, it's difficult for a 17-year-old kid coming out there in the environment with 25,000 people. I mean, he gave us all he had. It's kind of difficult coming out there and expecting a lot. So, I mean, I think he's a young kid, and I think you have to give him some urgency about that and hope for the kind of the future, I guess you could say. So, I mean, he's a tough kid. I mean, he's going to bounce back, and hopefully we can use him for the rest of this tournament.
Our next question is from Robbie Weinstein. Robbie, go ahead.
Hey, Luke, Robbie Weinstein, 24/7. I mean, Javi Vaz was down to his last strike of the season. So what was the mood like in the dugout? What were you thinking at that point, especially considering how Beck was mowing everyone down?
I mean, our team, we're a pretty tough team. I don't think we were I don't think we were down. We were still motivated. Everyone in the dugout was thinking that we're going to win this ball game. There was no doubt about it. And Javi had a great AB, followed by Spencer, and then Enrique putting the bat on the ball and not getting the run. So there was no doubt about it in our dugout. I mean, I had full trust in our offense.
Our final question is from Corey Curtis. Corey, go ahead.
Hey, working your way from the losers bracket in this tournament to the finals is one of the toughest things you can do. But is tonight a pretty good indication that for this team, anything is possible?
Yes, sir. Anything is possible. We're a tough team. If you haven't noticed, like our last couple games are 1-run ball games, 2-run ball games, and keep put up the fight, and I think we'll have a good chance to keep advancing.
Thank you, Luke, for your time today. We will be joined momentarily by Tim Corbin. Please use this time to raise or lower your hand as necessary. Thank you for joining us. We will now begin with an opening statement from Tim Corbin and then go to questions. Use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. When you are called on for your question, please state your name and affiliation first. Coach, please go ahead with a brief opening statement.
Yeah, it was just a tough, emotional baseball game. It was probably the tale of two games for us in terms of the first 4 innings were sloppy. I thought we were tentative, didn't really handle the situation very well, and they were putting on us quick. We had to have some type of response. Dominic's home run certainly was a response to that, and then later on in the 6th inning when they scored a run, I thought that was a good job of responding, counter-punching with 2 runs. Tate had a big hit. Parker Nolan had a big hit, and then certainly. To keep the game where it was the pitching again. Maldonado, McIlvain, Fish got 1 hitter. He didn't give up any damage. He had to pitch that guy very tough, obviously, because Brock Jones had a good night up to that point, and then Murphy being able to just get out of a huge bases-loaded jam. I recognize it's really tough to lose a game that way. There's no doubt about it. I've been on that side. It's just tough. But I thought we had some very good at-bats at the end. Javi Vaz's at-bat was so good just to stay off a pitch, not leave the zone, just get to first base. Spencer Jones pinch hitting, just putting the ball on the other side of the field, just putting it in play and getting to base. And certainly Bradfield leaning on a breaking ball. And it was such a big hit. There were 3 quality at-bats in a row. And then the wild pitch, but we had to get to that point. We just had to tie it up. So good for the kids. They didn't back down. They've been tough. They've showed a lot of resiliency, and we've played a lot of 1-run games, regional to super regional to tonight. So nothing has been easy for the group.
Thank you. Now we will go to questions from the media. Our first question is from Kendall Rogers. Kendall, go ahead.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Tim, just kind of looking at back when he first came into the game, I mean, as a coach and you watch a guy just with that electric of stuff, and then you go into the 9th of the season on the line, what was kind of your thinking going into the 9th, and what was kind of your message to the offense going into the 9th? I mean, what did you kind of feel that the offense needed to do differently approach-wise to be able to capitalize against a guy that's red hot like that?
Oh, I just knew he was going to throw the breaking ball, and we had to Bax was talking to the hitters about watching the ball pop, and if it popped low, it wasn't going to be a strike. But we had to manage that pitch. I mean, I thought the breaking ball is kind of like it's cop-like. I mean, from Arkansas, to me it had a similar feel to it. Now I didn't hit, but I knew we were having a hard time picking it up. And then he's got a good enough fastball that you have to be ready for that too. But I thought when he got himself in situations where he needed a pitch, he was going to always roll to that. And we kind of knew it, but we just had to do a good job managing the zone, and Javi did that. I mean, that was the at bat. That was the at bat that turned the inning. Is just getting to first base, and he could have left the zone on that breaking ball down, but he stayed off of it. That was a very good at bat by a kid that's got a good heartbeat for the game.
Our next question is from Teddy Cahill. Teddy, go ahead.
This is the first time you guys had faced elimination this season. Did it take some time to settle in, do you think, or how do you think everyone handled, just the added pressure of an elimination game?
In retrospect, not very good, Teddy. I thought we were pressing a little bit. I thought we were pressing. We were anxious in some respects offensively. We were on our heels defensively, and it cost us. I mean, the first inning was indicative of kind of how we were playing the first 4 innings. I mean, balls not taken care of, fly balls not being caught. I just thought we were very tentative inside of the game. And, yeah, I mean, it's, you look at the lineup, and there are absolutely zero excuses, but you look at the lineup, and none of those guys have been on the field before. So I'm sure for them, when you think about it, and you're human, and the elimination games are just different because you know that if things don't go your way, the season's over, and there's some emotional feelings that way, and I'm sure it can pull you down, and it's tough to get inside this environment and play with freedom. But towards the middle part of the game, I thought we did. I thought we kind of settled in. The verbiage was different in the dugout, and the actions on the field, there was more communication. I thought we were really quiet at the beginning and just very tentative.
Our next question is from Chris Harris. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Tim, I wonder if you could share a little bit of what the cameras picked up of what you said to the guys in the dugout after falling behind early, and then also subsequently what your team may have learned about itself from tonight's comeback win.
It was just a moment. I don't typically talk to him during the course of the game, but I just thought that there was some moments. I went out to the mound to change pitchers, and I didn't think the eyes looked good. And Brown, when I came back in, Brownie said the same thing. So I just didn't want to go down. If we're going to lose playing aggressively, and I just didn't think we were. It was just more of a challenge than anything else. Rare moment because first of all, I don't like doing that, and second of all, it's their game. It's theirs to win or lose, and you don't ever want to interfere. But at the same time, I didn't feel like they were playing like themselves, and we needed to snap out of it. And I'm not saying that discussion had anything to do with what happened, but at that point, we just needed to snap out of whatever fog we were in because we were not playing like ourselves.
Our next question is from Chris Lee. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Tim, talk about the decision to pinch hit Spencer on that spot. What into it, what you thought you could get from him to make him the right guy in that spot? Because it had been a while. He hadn't hit much, I guess, in the postseason.
No, he hadn't. But at the same time, he got a pinch hit the other day, and he swung the bat early. Didn't get what he wanted, but he was ready to hit. And I think that's the most important thing. The other thing, his swings away from the game have been good. He stayed very present, even though he hasn't been playing. I credit him with that. But I think the difference was the fact that we felt like his barrel could potentially run into that breaking ball. We felt like if he was going to throw the breaking ball, and he did in the first 2 pitches he threw to Spencer were fastballs, but we felt like if he was going to throw that breaking ball, Spencer had a chance to run into it because of his barrel angle. So We just felt like that was a better matchup than what Jason was. But you never know. You rolling dice sometimes, flipping coins. But felt like the one thing about Spencer, you're going to get a good heartbeat because he contains himself well. He's very present in what's going on.
Our next question is from Adam Sparks. Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, Tim, I wanted to follow up on that on Spencer and Vaz both. Those are two guys that had to practice a lot of patience before they got their opportunity. Is there anything about their character that helped them out in being prepared despite their limited experience this year?
Well, I think you mentioned both of them, but Javi on the front end of it is very engaged in every game, and that was game 1 to game 50. You know, there was only one time he stepped on the field as a starter, and that was back when we played against Georgia. And then in the postseason, we got to a point where we felt like he was going to give us good at-bats. He was going to take his walks. He wasn't going to swing out of the zone. He could bunt. There were a lot of things we felt like he could do to move offense. And he gives you a pretty good defensive piece in the outfield. But, you don't get to that point and play well unless you stay present for the entire season, and he did. Jonesy, same thing. I mean, Jonesy's had to go through some tough stuff now. I mean, he's had two big injuries that have kept him out. It's tough to come back from the arm. So defensively, you just haven't had many options for Jonesy. You know, it's either DH or nothing. And he recognizes that but wants to play. But he, too, he's a very calm kid. You know, he keeps the harmony of the team and just does what he has to do, and he understands a team role. But understanding a team role here at Vanderbilt is the most important thing these guys can do before they get a playing role, and that starts day one, and that has to happen. If you don't know what a team role is, then you'll never get on the field as a player.
Thank you.
Our final question is from Aria Gerson. Aria, go ahead.
Tim, what does it mean for your team that they were able to win a game like this without, Rocker or Leiter down to the bottom of the lineup and after having played so badly at the beginning of the game?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives from that because you lean on two guys in a lot of different ways, and the fact that, we could start Christian and, he didn't pitch that bad. We play a little bit of defense behind him. He probably goes deeper into that game and certainly doesn't get frustrated. And then, after that, we were leaning on the bullpen. But I think the fact that they could just withstand that and play in another one-run game, I mean, we've just played a lot of one-run games. We have. And really losing the other night in that one-run game is one of the few one-run games we've lost all year. But they get to those moments, they do a good job of competing and staying in it. We might not be the most talented team, but the thing that you can't deny the kids is they are tough. They're tough, and they're every time you challenge them, they come back, and I appreciate that. I appreciate their fibers.
Thank you for your time, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all for participating. You can find a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at www.ncaa.veritone.com, and transcripts are available at www.ncaa.com/transcripts. Thank you all for joining us.